Again, good morning to everyone here who made it this early to listen to the first part of the presentation. I am Maynah from Queensland in Australia. And I've been teaching for the past 2 decades both in Australia and in New Zealand. I teach chemistry, physics, biology, mathematics, with emphasis on the daily high achievers. Today, however, is not focused on me, but on our presenter today. She's my daughter, Maynah. Despite her youth, she has bravely taken on the challenge to stand before you today to advocate for the voices that most of us, most of you, will probably never hear. The voices of the twice exceptional students. To put you in perspective, Maynah is academically accelerated. She taught herself to read at 3 years old and has been taking university subjects since she was 13 years old. She has been taking graded ballet exams since she was 3 years old. She's a school leader when she was in school, an athlete. She's a martial artist. She's a model. She's a writer, and is currently co-publishing an academic project with me about the new Australian curriculum. She also has been awarded the Vice Chancellor's Scholarship for the University of Southern Queensland, which gives her a full ride scholarship at the time, during the times that she's going to be there. By all accounts, she ticks all the boxes that we as educators look for in the profoundly gifted students. Like her brother before her, except for one big difference. Because up until she went to school, Maynah, nobody knew, not us, not her caregivers, and her teachers, knew that she had profound hearing loss. As teachers and educational researchers, we gather cold, empirical data, we lump them together, we synthesize it, we analyze it, and then we call it factual. Today, Maynah will put a face to that data, a voice to our research, in order to remind us that behind each statistic, beyond each methodology, above all fact, each number tells an individual's story. She's just one statistic amongst the many that we, as a group, as cohorts, as colleagues, have taken through the years, through the many years of researching on gifted and talented individuals. But it is her story. And so today, it is my pride and joy to present to you my daughter, Maynah Porha Ellis.
First of all, I would like to apologize if I sound a bit off. I'm just recovering from a cold right now, so thank you for bearing with me. Good morning, everyone. My name is Maynah Arrested. I am currently 17 years old and living with my family in the beautiful sunny weather of Queensland, Australia. Along with my older brother Joseph, I was born in New Zealand and I lived in the country for 10 years before we moved to Australia in 2012, which was 7 years ago. I graduated high school last year in the top 5% of the school, and I'm currently enrolled in the University of Southern Queensland, which is also shortened to USQ. I am taking up a double degree in a Bachelor of Arts and a Bachelor of Science. I am also employed at USQ as a first-year student ambassador, where I go out and advertise my university to many high school students and many adults looking for a place where they can study. When I am not studying or explaining the educational system of USQ to people, you can find me at a local dance studio where I take weekly ballet and contemporary classes, as well as participating in competitions around the area. I also help out in a local Catholic parish, where my family and I have found a community in which we can call our home, and every Sunday we catch up and bond over anything that has happened in our lives, be it significant or insignificant, knowing that we walk together in our journey of faith as brothers and sisters in Christ. Rewind back to myself a few years ago. If I had told myself then about everything that I had now, I probably would have been very hesitant in believing it. This is because for my entire life, I had struggled with something that always seemed to have held me back in every aspect. And like my father said, that was my hearing impairment. My hearing impairment was genetically inherited, and my parents were unaware of my condition until I was 3. Having this as a disability is a real challenge in and of itself, especially since I have not encountered many people with a hearing disability, so it was quite difficult to try to find someone that empathized with my struggles of being, well, almost deaf. Because of this, I would actually have trouble making friends. I remember when I was around 7 or 8 years old, I had the tendency to operate on both extreme ends of the behavioral spectrum, so I would either be too loud to try to make up for my lack of hearing, and this usually comes across to other kids as being too needy and attention-seeking. Or I'd be very socially withdrawn and distant, which makes it even harder for other children to reach out to me, and this approach usually comes off as very snobbish and rude. As a child, obviously you wouldn't have been able to establish your social graces and your manners because you were still learning. However, in terms of interpersonal communication, I was slower than the rest. My lack of understanding of social conduct, as well as other kids' ignorance in how to treat a person with a hearing disability, did not really mesh well, and as a result, many misunderstandings were made. I only started to overcome this the first few years when we moved to Australia, especially since my brother and I started to hang out more since we didn't know anyone in the new country, and when my parents and he started to teach me more about talking with other kids. I think it is also because of a fresh new slate of having a new beginning in Australia that helped my communication skills, since now I knew that I had to establish first with my new teachers and classmates that I was hearing impaired to prevent any misunderstandings from occurring. Now, as a 13-year-old student living her 3rd year in Australia, my next challenge that I had to overcome was learning in the classroom. My family values excellence in everything we do, and it seems that the trait has also passed on to me. I was getting more serious in my studies. I saw all the senior students get the academic awards, and sooner or later, I started dreaming about being up there on the stage, receiving as many awards as I could. However, what was getting in the way was the fact that the classroom environment was sometimes not very suitable for someone with a hearing disability, and combined with the rowdiness of some students in the classroom, I was falling behind on some of my work. Loud personalities, as well as spacious classrooms and educational videos without subtitles, were the epitome of my worst nightmare during that stage of my life. And unfortunately, this also meant that as a growing teenager, I was much more prone to being irritated at everything and everyone at the drop of a hat. Looking back on this stage of my life now, I find that this is the stage where I practically contradict myself. I didn't want to be defined by my hearing impairment, so I was irritated with all the special health staff constantly checking up with me every week. But at the same time, I loathed how unsuitable the learning environment was for someone with my disability. For some reason, it never really struck me that the classrooms were built for the majority of the students, and that the special aid staff were only there to help. I think it was because of the fact that they were always helicoptering behind me everywhere, like I was some kindergartner, to the point where I never got the chance to independently expand my academic endeavors, which got me a little bit rattled. At this point, the challenge was not just a learning environment, which made it difficult for me to properly learn, but also a personal one, because I felt like I was being suffocated and that people were still unnecessarily treating me like a baby, even though they had laid off on the other students. Therefore, this problem of mine was overcame not just by me, but also with the help of some select staff of the school. I have come across so many lovely teachers who have made my learning journey so much easier and left a profound impact on my life in a very positive way. I was so used to people always hovering behind my back, constantly asking if I was okay with how things were progressing, and without dismissing their sentiment of just wanting to help, being pulled out of your class for half an hour every week and constantly checked up on it every 10 minutes, it can get tiring and borderline suffocating. This is why I always appreciated the teachers who saw that and left some space for me to explore and grow my outlets, whether it be academic or creative. And they would only step in to help once they saw the first sign of me struggling in class. To a student, having the type of teacher who gauges the children's personality and adapts their teaching methods accordingly to how a student needed to learn, it means everything. For me, during that stage of my life, it was so refreshing to finally have some room to breathe and grow in my learning journey. But it was also very comforting to know that there are reliable teachers to go to whenever I encounter a problem, no matter how small or big. In my experience so far, I have learned that a student can only reach their full potential if they have two things: a determined attitude to get through whatever obstacle they might face in their journey, and continuous support from their friends, teachers, and their family. That way, they have someone to fall back to and help them find a solution when something is just not going their way. I know that as a student, whenever I look back on my high school journey, I will always remember the struggles and challenges that I have faced when aiming for my personal success. But more importantly, I remember having the support and encouragement from my teachers and family to overcome those challenges and get to where I am today. I am so thankful that I still have people standing by my side, ready to support me in whichever direction I plan on taking in the near future. That is why I am here, speaking to all of you and sharing my story as a person with a hearing disability, because I want to relay this message. To your children, to your students, your support and your encouragement means everything. Give them some time to grow in as a person in their learning journey, but also make sure to assure them that you are there, just in case things do not go their way. At the end of the day, no matter how tough they seem to be, they are still kids. And if you can do something that you know will help them become the best version of them they can be, do it. Because no matter how small that action is, or how unnoticeable it might be, one day they will look back and see who was really supporting them from behind the scenes of their life. They might not notice the small acts of kindness from you now, but they will notice in the future. One really important thing that I have learned that I want to share with you all is that there is no better motivation to support the youth than out of love. Because if the youth can see that you have helped them grow out of pure love alone, then they will begin to achieve great things out of their love for you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
We purposefully cut it short, ask you to keep it short, so that we can have time for you to actually ask questions.
is Joanne. Just to explain what happened to Maynah is she was born in New Zealand in December 2001, and the screening program in New Zealand for the hearing started in 2002. So it was missed out, and because she was reading, singing, dancing, all the things that a toddler would be doing, she was definitely, from the parents' point of view, we missed that out. It's not only until she attended preschool and Montessori school and one of the teachers noted that she was very quiet and would not be interacting with the teachers and some of the children, that she approached us and said maybe a hearing test would really be helpful. And that's when we brought her, obviously, for testing. So that was the time. And then she wears all the hearing aids to help. She did not need any cochlear implant, but the hearing aids were just really fantastic once she had started to wear them.
Yes.
Do you read lips, do you? Is that what it is? I was wondering how you know that. So it's through lip reading.
Yeah, it's mainly through lip reading. So if you told me to close my eyes and try to listen, I won't be able to do it.
So even with the hearing aids on, the audiologist has tested that she can only pick up 70% of what you're saying in a good environment. So that lessens whenever there's background noise and everything else. So everything else she has to lip read, she has to hear what she has, and she has to process what's happening depending on what you're trying to do. And that's really one of the reasons why we missed it out, because how can she learn how to read by herself? If she can even hear us say the silent, especially the silent letters, the S's, the F's, and the H's, I guess she figured it out herself.
I'm not sure if I'm going to word this question correctly, but you spoke of just that suffocating feeling that you had and feeling demeaned by the over supports. And in our school district, we struggle with supporting our students because we know our gifted department understands the gifted side and knows how to put in supports, and our special education department understands the special ed side. But we have not come to a very good place to say, this is how you can engage them academically, back off your supports, because our kids don't want everyone to know. So how did you work through that with the support staff that you had to get them to back off? What kind of communication did you have?
First of all, so I actually did have a sit down one-on-one with one of them, and I told them I want to be able to expand my academic endeavors. I want to be able to expand my creative endeavors, but and I'm not trying to dismiss your support in any way. I really appreciate it. But the thing is, treating me like a child won't be able to get me to grow as a person. So having that reassurance there, having someone to fall back to, so it's gonna be really appreciative for me, because I want to be able to have some independence in my learning curriculum, but I also want to be sure that there is someone I can go to just in case that doesn't work out. So yes.
So what we talked about as well during our meetings here is that if she can just take notes, if say for example it's going to be in a setting like this, it's going to be difficult or noisy setting, she can just take the gist of it, or the notes, or even give her the PowerPoints, and then she'll be able to pick up on what she's missing out with her.
Yeah, that just reminds me, there was this time in my maths class, my teacher basically gave me all the notes and everything. I was really thankful, but I wasn't learning that way. I learned because how I learn is how I take notes. So if my teacher just gave me my notes, I wouldn't be able to just learn it or just read it and be great. So
it was a balanced there. I was going to take notes, give her the notes. And then she said, no, I don't want the notes. So
I have a question for your parents. How did you go with advocating for Maynah when she was really young through the school system?
with difficulty, with a lot of difficulty. In fact, we had to, yes, so we had a lot of questions there. With the Queensland side, they're very good with special needs. Because they're very trained with special needs. A lot of money is being put into special needs. And so rather than fighting it, because on the other extreme for the gifted and talent, there's no funding for that. And so the good thing about it is, because Maynah is special needs because of her hearing, so a lot of that funding was channeled through her special needs. And then, of course, we actually just work it out with her academics in order to work it out through the other payment. She was funded, all the support was funded through her special needs and hearing disability, which is in stark contrast with her brother Joseph there, who is profoundly gifted as well. But when he was going through the system, there was no funding for him because he didn't have special needs. So it was like her disability, her challenge was more of a blessing for her because of funding wise. And so we just had to make it work, that let's just use this and then let's just go through it so that we can actually try to redirect it into her giftedness as well. Yes.
Did you find teachers focus more on your hearing disability than on your giftedness?
Yes, I suppose, yes, because in my high school years, if you are a kid with like a disability, that is basically what defines you. And then that is what the teachers rely on to try and adapt their teaching methods. Like every kid is different.
Yeah.
So, but for me, because I have a hearing disability, most of my teachers try to be all hands-on with my work. And then I'm just like, yes, I just want to be able to have some room. And then, like, compared with a kid who has, say, like a mental disability, obviously you want to be more hands-on with him. But it's just up to the teachers and the staff to try and gauge what their learning methods are and how they can apply it to their teachings.
We probably have time for one more. Yes.
I'd like to follow up on what this lady asked. So in their attention to you, their hands-on, was it to make sure you heard, or was it to make sure that you're learning at your, in your zone of proximal development, your developmental zone? Which was it?
I think it was just a little bit of everything. So if I try to put it in an example, in a classroom, it would be every 5 minutes. So we had special help teachers who were coming around the classroom. They would come check on me every 10 minutes. And then sometimes they would just like pull me out of the classroom for like a half an hour meeting to like explain what's going on, how to progress in the classroom. And then I'd be missing 30 minutes of the lesson. So yes, I think it's just important for teachers and staff to try and maintain that balance. And it's also to try and improve your, try to basically adapt to students, gauge their personalities, be more focus oriented towards which student is more focused on visual learning, which one's more like auditory and everything. And how can we try and make them feel like they're welcomed in the classroom? How do we make them feel like they're able to expand their wings and start trying to fly without us having to hold them down and be like, no, this is how you do it. So.
Thank you very much.